Paper! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Okay, I don't think it's going to pivot anymore. You think? All right, let's bring it back down and try again. Okay. Oh.
Okay, yeah, I think it's really stuck now.
I can't believe that didn't work.
I know, me neither. I mean, you had a sketch.
Oh, you know what did you mean when you said pivot?
Michael Ruzioni! We're from Massachusetts.
Who do you play for?
Play for the United States of America.
That's all, gentlemen.
Difficult, very difficult. Plenty of courage, I see. Not a bad mind either. There's talent, oh yes, and a thirst to prove yourself. But where to put you?
Not Slytherin. Not Slytherin.
Not Slytherin, eh? Are you sure? You could be great, you know. It's all here in your head. And Slytherin will help you on the way to greatness. There's no doubt about that. No? Well, if you're sure, better be Gryffindor!
"89 of Fortune 100 companies use Myers-Briggs Type Indicator for hiring employees, individual assessment, and team building."
We know that each person is inherently different, but how can you easily compare and contrast people? One way is by using personality tests. There are hundreds of thousands of personality tests taken every day. Some of these tests are administered by employers to gauge potential employees' fit in their company. They are also used within companies to form teams and gauge the members of these teams. One of the most popular personality tests used is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator test, which fits people into 16 different personalities, each having 4 different dichotomies. Extroversion or introversion, E or I, is the preference of how a person focuses their energy and how they draw energy. Extroverts, E's, gain energy from interacting with people, while introverts, I's, need time to themselves to recharge. Sensing or intuition, S or N. Sensing, S, is a preference for gathering data directly through senses, facts, and details, versus indirectly as relationships, patterns, and possibilities through interactions with people, which are intuition. Thinking or feeling, T or F. Thinking, T, is a preference for deciding via objective impersonal logic versus subjective person-centered values, which is feeling F. Judging or perceiving, J or P. Wanting to have things planned and organized puts people on the judging, J, category versus a flexible style based more on staying open to options rather than deciding, which is perceiving, P. With these dichotomies, you can be either or, but Myers-Briggs also puts you on a spectrum to which side you are more on. Even though there are many free versions online, the official test is distributed through CPP and can cost companies upwards of $50 a person. The test consists of 93 questions, and a personalized guide is created to show which dichotomy the test taker fits into, as well as the degree. CPP also has services to dissect each team member through Myers-Briggs Type Indicator and attempt to better formulate teams within the company. The company even offers an online community for people to share their insights with their types and their tests.
Myers-Briggs Type Indicator can be used effectively to enhance teams and individual work ethics and understanding. Myers-Briggs fuses emotional intelligence and motivational intelligence, leading to a greater understanding of one's personality and how it can complement another's personality or work style. In the business place, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator is often used to enhance team building processes, both along a vertical and horizontal organizational structure. Many organizations have their employees take the test and use the results for team development, grouping complementary personality types, communication coaching, and training programs for specific positions. Teams and groups are formed based not only on particular skills and specialties, but also how well specific personalities work together. To improve communication, the information processing characteristic, sensing or intuition, characterizes your communication. How you process information given to you and how you provide information to others, the thinking, feeling trait, characterizes decision-making tendencies. Some businesses go as far as training employees with specific personality types for specific positions to prepare for promotion or specialized skills in departments. Promotional titles based on personality types, as opposed to skill level or experience, can include coach, analyst, team leader, or group motivator. On the individual level, Myers-Briggs can be used as a guide to find a potential career path suitable to your strengths. For example, an ESFP, extrovert, sensing, feeling, perception, have lively and playful personalities, good for being a child counselor, an actor, or interior designer. However, this isn't to limit your options of career paths depending on your type, but rather just to consider playing up your personal natural tendencies.
Let's look at the effectiveness of Myers-Briggs test. Myers-Briggs test allows companies to maximize individual and team effectiveness from entry to executive levels. It helps in finding any room for improvement in the personal or professional area. Employers can use personality test results to develop leaders such as executives and directors. Using this information, organizations can decide which leadership qualities to nurture in their leadership development programs and the training needs of individuals. For example, organizations may develop a fast-track program for candidates who measure high on certain personality scales. Everything has an upside as well as a downside. Myers-Briggs test is said to be ineffective for various reasons. Let us look at some of the reasons. There are many versions of this test available. Thus, people are not sure which test is the real one and which one to take. The characteristics measured by the test have almost no predictive power on how happy you will be in a situation, how you will perform at your job, or how happy you will be in your marriage. Most humans fall along a spectrum and are not easily classified into opposite choices. People aren't exclusively extroverts or introverts, and where they fall on the spectrum can fluctuate widely based on how they are feeling at the moment. The Myers-Briggs test isn't scientifically valid, so the field of psychology ignores it. One may say that Myers-Briggs cannot stand up to the academia level. Even if it is not scientifically valid, many organizations and large companies still use it. The Big Five personality test comprises of these 5 factors, namely extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, emotional stability or neuroticism, and intellect or openness to experience. Myers-Briggs test is based on a cognitive theory that explains basic personality traits as arising from differences in how we take in and process information. The Big Five, on the other hand, is based on a completely different idea, namely the lexical hypothesis, which states that all the important personality traits are encoded in natural language. In the picture of the bell curves, we see that the curve for Myers-Briggs test has only 2 measures, introverted or extroverted, whereas the curve for Big Five extends from introverted to ambiverted to extroverted, which means that a person can be both to a certain level. It is the nature of dichotomous scoring and not the Myers-Briggs test measurements themselves that produces the failure to test and retest reliably. As we have already said, The failure to account for the fact that types do not exist as distinct and measurable entities is the Myers-Briggs' biggest weakness. The table here states that the Big Five theory is currently the gold standard when it comes to the models of personality and is the theory most often used in personality research today. Interestingly, the MBTI appears to be a rough approximation of 4 out of the 5 dimensions of Big Five theory. For example, extroversion from Big Five matches the extroversion introversion pair from Myers Briggs test. Openness matches to the sensitive neutral pair, whereas neuroticism from Big Five does not match anything from Myers Briggs test.
To further study Myers Briggs, our team decided to see how well Myers Briggs fit our team performance. We started by each taking one of the online free versions. From this, we found what each of our indicator types was. Ikta and Pia found out they are ENFJs. ENFJs are visionaries and teachers. They are catalysts for growth, seeing the potential in the world and in others. They're energetic, driven, and ambitious to change the world. They're also known for their leadership. Both Pia and Ikta took leadership roles in our team. Pia became the team leader and Ikta the leader for creating the video. Iping is an ISFJ. ISFJs are loyal caretakers and protectors. Practical and compassionate, they have a deep sense of responsibility to others and to their duties. They enjoy contributing to the structure of society and organizational life. They are methodical and persistent until a job is done. Ishita is an ESFJ. These people are known for being energetic helpers who are sensitive to the needs of others. They value loyalty, making family and friends a top priority. They show great concern for others and put significant effort to bring order to other people's lives. Ashley is an INTJ. INTJs are problem solvers and innovators, masterminds. They are logical and analytical, focused inward to their world, to their study of the world. They prefer logical systems and are less comfortable with unpredictable nature of others. Next, we looked at our team lifestyle. Everyone on our team has a preference for judging over perceiving. People with a preference for judging are systematic and organized. They prefer planning in advance, getting an early start on projects, and approaching projects methodically. This is exactly how our team approached this project. Before our first meeting, we had already had the team contract and timeline outlined. Our timeline included each step of the project with deadlines established well before each phase was due in class. The team was adamant about pre-planning each meeting. We then studied our team energy. 3 of the team members had a preference for extroversion, while the other 2 have preferences for introversion. Throughout our team meetings, it seemed obvious to us that 3 people drew energy from group discussions and brainstormings, and the other 2 were much more inwardly reflective. However, these observations on team members did not align with the Myers-Briggs results. Though Iping is an introvert, according to Myers-Briggs, she initiated most of the communication and was expressive of her preferences. Also, according to Myers-Briggs, Ishita was an extrovert, but during meetings she was more reflective on the receiving side of the conversation. The last thing we looked at was how our team dealt with conflict. The preference for responding to conflict is represented by the last 2 letters of the Myers-Briggs indicator. These letters are called the conflict pairs and represent the combination of one's decision-making preference for either thinking or feeling, or one's lifestyle preference for either judging or perceiving. Within our team, 4 of the 5 members are FJs, with the 5th member being a TJ. People with a preference for judging have a tendency to seek quick closure to conflict and do not want conflict to linger. In our team, this was the case. Any conflict was resolved within our meeting time and did not linger beyond the meeting.
Myers-Briggs has its effectiveness and ineffectiveness. It is not scientifically supported and has potential to be misused. For an individual, the Myers-Briggs personality preferences can change over time, and thus it is not a stable personality test. Individuals may start their careers with a preference for perceiving, but can change to judging over time. If businesses do not use the actual Myers-Briggs test, they do not get the results that show what spectrum individuals fall under for each type. Most people do not fall 100% on one side or another. In some cases, people may only have a minor preference for one of the personality types and should not be fully classified as one type or the other. It is important to understand how strong one's preference for each personality indicator is. In business, it should not be used to assess employees' potential job responsibilities or performance. However, Myers-Briggs can be used to understand team members' personalities, where they draw energy, how they process information, their work style preferences, and how they make decisions. Knowing whether a team member draws energy from external forces or internal forces allows for understanding how to support one another, allowing people to be alone or engaging in conversation. Myers-Briggs can also help understand how individuals prefer to resolve conflict and their focus points during conflict. For example, people with a preference for judging seek quick closure, whereas people with preference for perceiving want to gather all relevant information and do not want conflict closure until all information has been sufficiently evaluated. When dealing with conflict in groups, this can be important to understand where each individual is coming from. In a business setting, Myers-Briggs can be used to understand team members' personalities and preferences, but should not be used for assessing individual potential or performance within their job and career.